A very good morning, my dear students. We were on the discussion of the chapter Properties of Matter, a chapter from 8th Standard Chemistry of Kerala State Syllabus. In the last class, we have seen the different states of matter and the names given to the change of states of matter. I hope you remember. Now today we will pass on to the next topic called the diffusion. You might have heard the name diffusion. Let's watch a video first. Here bromine gas is taken in this gas jar and another empty gas jar is inverted on the top of the bromine gas jar. After some time you can see the bromine gas is slowly entering to the top jar. After half an hour like that, you can see the top jar is filled with the bromine gas. As you can see from this video, the particles of the bromine gas is mingling with the particles of air in the top jar. Okay. So here you can see a spontaneous mixing of particles, those who have freedom of movement. So that is what is called diffusion. Okay, almost all the fluids show the property of diffusion because the fluids, by its name itself, the particles inside a fluid is having the freedom of movement. Okay, so they are mixing spontaneously. This property is known as diffusion. Now we know that we are surrounded with so many materials, objects. Mainly we can classify these materials or these substances into two. Pure substances and impure substances or mixtures. Pure substances are the substances which are made up of identical particles, particles of the same nature. For example, take a crystal of sugar. All the particles inside the sugar is identical in nature, so it shows the same property all over that crystal, isn't it? Just like that, take a glass of water, pure water. That pure water we can consider as a pure substance body. And coming to the mixers, the mixtures will have particles of different nature. For example, soda water. You know that carbon dioxide is dissolved in water and we make soda water. So in soda water there are particles of carbon dioxide and water. So we call that as a mixture. So like this we come across so many mixtures in our everyday life, and certain times it's a need to separate the components of mixes. Many occasions. Morning we prepare tea and we have to separate the tea dreg from the tea. What we do? We filter it, isn't it? Using a filter, we filter the tea dreg from tea. Okay? So there we are utilizing the difference in the size of the particles of that mixture, isn't it? Tea dreg is having a larger size than the particles of water or milk inside tea, isn't it? So there we are utilizing the size of the particles. Now take the case of paddy and husk. Husk from paddy we are weighing and separating. What property is used here? We use the difference in its weight. Like this, various situations we can find out from our everyday life to separate components from its mixture. Okay. Now, let's see some different methods of separation of components from a mixture. The first one, separating salt from salt water. We use a process called distillation. So this process of distillation is used where the components have a clear difference in its boiling point. Okay. As you know that water is having a boiling point 100 degrees centigrade, whereas salt is having a very high boiling point. So we can easily separate salt and water using this method. Here you can see in this video, salt water is taken in a round bottomed flask or retort, and on heating this water raises as water vapor and coming through this delivery tube, and after cooling it will condense and collected here as droplets of water, whereas the salt remains in the retort. Okay, this process is known as distillation. Now, if the components having a very close boiling points, where there is no much difference in the boiling points, then we will use another method which is known as fractional distillation. Okay, in fractional distillation we take the case of crude oil. Many components are there in the crude oil. First, the crude oil is heated to a very high temperature in a furnace, and after that the very hot liquid is coming to a fractionating column, which is a very large tower. This fractionating column having a very high temperature at its lower part, and the components which are in liquid form will come out at this very high temperature, and the components which are in the vapor form will rise up, and at different temperatures these vapors will condense. The vapor which is condensing at 300 degrees centigrade that can be taken from that part through a tap. The vapors which are condensing at 200 degrees centigrade and coming as liquid, that will be separated through another part, and like that. Even at the temperature of 150 degrees centigrade, there are some vapors remaining without condensation. So those vapors are collected as this fuel gas or LPG, the gases like that. Okay, this is the process of fractional distillation. Now coming to another method of separation which is known as chromatography. Chromatography is the method of separating different pigments which is dissolved in a same solvent. Let's watch this video. In this video you can see one filter paper is taken, and its down part a line has drawn using a marker pen or a sketch pen. Okay, so you know that the ink used in that marker pen contains different pigments, and when we dip this tip of this filter paper in water, water rises up as a result of capillary rise, and it takes the different pigments along with it, and we can see the different pigments are traveling in different speed. After some time those pigments will locate in different positions. Like that we can separate different pigments from a common solvent. So this is the process of chromatography. Now another process of separation is centrifugation. Watch this video. We have prepared two mixtures. One is with water and soil, the other is with water and calcium carbonate, and we have taken this into test tubes, and here it is placed in a centrifuge and it is rotated, and using the centrifugal force the components sedimented at its tip of this test tubes, and this method is used where the sedimentation process is very slow. So we are making this sedimentation process fast using this method of centrifugation. And we will wind up the class here. Thank you for watching my class. Thank you.